All right, good evening. We are bringing our meeting back to open session here at 6:31 p.m. We'll begin with our roll call. We have board members, Mr. Rose and Mr. Peterson, as well as myself in attendance. Mrs. Flores and Mrs. McGuire are not with us this evening. And we do have a report of action taken in closed session. In closed session, the board voted to approve the stipulated expulsion agreement in Student Services Case Number 2, CO 2025-2026. The motion was made by Mr. Rose and seconded by Mr. Peterson, and the vote was 3-0. That will bring us to our Pledge of Allegiance. Dr. Kim.
All right, it is my pleasure to introduce the illustrious principal of Charter Oak High School, Dr. Robin Perez, to introduce her Pledge of Allegiance student.
Good evening. Thank you. It is my honor as principal of Charter Oak High School to introduce Nathaniel Harms. I am proud to recognize him as one of our finest students. He is a powerful example of what students who can do multiple things and achieve all their interests. He's explored passions across multiple programs. In each of those programs, he's an outstanding example to all. An outstanding scholar, a dedicated athlete, and an exceptional performer. He excels at a high level in each area, and through his opportunities in each of the areas, Nathaniel has grown not only in skill, but in character, developing discipline, empathy, and a strong sense of responsibility to those around him. Beyond his accomplishments, Nathaniel is known for his kindness, his thoughtfulness, and his quiet leadership. He leads by example, he supports his peers, and he consistently lifts others up. Whether in the classroom or on the field or on the stage, he's lifting people up. His recent full scholarship to Azusa Pacific University recognizes both his academic excellence and his commitment to the arts. His journey stands as a clear reminder of what is possible when we allow students the space to grow, to reach their fullest potential. We are incredibly proud of Nathaniel and all he has accomplished, and we can't wait to see what he does beyond high school, and I'm sure it will be tremendous. So without further ado, we're going to welcome Nathaniel up to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
If you would please stand. Place your right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks so much for leading. You did a great job, right? The right one. Excellent. I changed your name. There you go. Thank you. Thank you. You might have some fans in the audience.
Don't have me twice. I know they're here.
Do we want to do one big group shot? Bring everybody up.
Come on up.
Get the whole group. Is that everybody?
Center a little bit. Center a little bit. Yeah. Is that everybody? Is that everybody?
No, Nicole needs to be in here.
Nicole, get in here. Come on, Nicole. All right, let's see if I can see everybody. I can. Ready? 1, 2, and 3. And one more. Let's take this one. Yes. All right.
Dr. Perez, if you may continue on to your superstar student.
So for our 2026 Superstar student, I am proud to recognize Sophia Farrar. She's a student who truly represents the heart and excellence of Charter Oak High School. Sophia is remarkable as a young woman who excels in every area at our school. She's a dedicated scholar with an impressive 4.5 GPA while taking on the rigor of IB and AP classes. She also is a three-sport athlete, competing in flag football, basketball, and track, where she demonstrates discipline, resilience, and teamwork at the highest level. I first met Sophia this past summer, new to my position, and I was in the ASB room. While asking questions to the students, Sophia instantly stood out. Not knowing who she was, I noticed her eloquence of speech, her vision for the school, and I asked myself, who is this young lady? And at no surprise, a few weeks later, mind you, I learned she's our ASB president. As one of her teachers so perfectly shared, quote, Sophia serves as a dedicated voice to her peers, demonstrating a level of leadership and maturity that has earned her the profound respect of not only the students at our school, but our staff. Sophia is in every sense exceptional as she seamlessly balances leadership, academics, athletics, and service with the maturity well beyond her years. She's not only a scholar and an athlete, but she's a compassionate leader, and I'm so proud of her. She's created an impact on our campus, and I believe it will be felt not only now, but beyond the years of Charter Oak High School. And I'm proud again to introduce Sophia Farrar.
All right. We normally have a partner in education. I want to give kudos to Dr. Perez because there's so many supportive individuals that help a high school run. In a large high school like ours, Dr. Perez really advocated for having partners in education. So if you may, please share with us our partners in education.
All right. Well, I'm going to start by inviting up Ms. Portnoy, if she'll join me, because one of the community partners in education involves our choir. And so together, we'd like to present Lorelei Kemsky. If you want to come on up, I'm going to talk about you a little bit. So Lorelei Kemsky has been a tremendous support to the choir program at Charter Oak High School. Her commitment is evident in every rehearsal and choir concert. Lorelei not only assists with planning, you will see her selling concessions, selling raffle tickets, and stepping in wherever help is needed. She doesn't hesitate. She doesn't wait to be asked. She consistently checks in. She anticipates needs, and she's always going above and beyond. Mrs. Portnoy shared, I'm deeply grateful for the time and the care Lorelei gives to our students. She strengthens the Charter Oak Unified School District community every day through her dedication and service. She has a beautiful heart for students and exemplifies the very best of community partnership. We are incredibly grateful for all she does to lift up our choir program. Thank you, Lorelei Kemsky. You get to go. You get to go up front. You guys want to go up with her?
All right, ready? 1, 2, and 3. And family? That's all mirrors. Come on, family. Come on. Don't be shy. Ready?
All right, so the next community partner in education I'd like to honor is Danny Marrero. If you want to come on up, Danny. I'm going to make you talk. I'm just kidding. He loves to talk into a microphone. He's an exceptional partner in education. His dedication to our community reflects the very best of what it means to give back. As a CEO Charter Oak High School parent through and through, Danny's son, Sergio Flores, graduated from Charter Oak High School in 2015. His daughter Mia is currently a junior with us, and his daughter Sierra is in 8th grade at Royal Oak Middle School. So nearly over a decade of service with the PTA, Danny has consistently gone above and beyond to ensure students, staff, and families feel supported across our community in all these campuses. Danny is known for living by a simple philosophy. He says, quote, "If you want to complain, do something about it." End quote. Whether quietly making donations to support staff and families or stepping in to help wherever it's needed, he proudly serves. He's enthusiastic. His face is always pleasant, and he's good energy to have around. He's got generosity, heart, and positivity. Danny's willingness to serve, combined with the genuine care for others, has made a lasting impact on our schools. And we are deeply grateful for his continued commitment, leadership, and unwavering support. He really embodies the spirit of partner in education, and we're honored to recognize him for the difference he makes every single day. Thank you, Danny.
Thank you.
No, you're not. Ready? Okay, let's get it. Ready? 1, 2, and 3.
All right, I'm going to call Coach Farrar up here. I know he's hiding in the hallway. Come, yes, sir. So I'm bringing my last group. It's a group of community partners in education. Coach Farrar and I collaborated together, and he was the nominating voice along with myself in all the work that these three ladies have done. So we're going to be recognizing the Big Lou Legacy Circle Football Booster Club, President Pauline Vivo, Vice President Michelle Encinas, and Secretary Lydia Alvarez. If you guys will come up.
Pauline's not here. Her son, Mia fractured his ankle at wrestling.
Okay. Fractured it in wrestling? All right, so we're gonna celebrate the two of you along with Pauline. Unfortunately, she's not here. Her son had an injury today, so keep him in positive thoughts and prayers. Hopefully he's okay. But with you guys being here, thank you so much. We want to recognize you for your exceptional volunteer service, your unwavering commitment to our school. Our high school honors you tonight because your work reflects, again, the true spirit of service, tradition, care, and as you continue to expand opportunities for our students, you've really strengthened the connection between our school and the community. Coach Farrar wanted to extend specific acknowledgments to each of you. So to Pauline, thank you for your outstanding leadership and dedication. Michelle, thank you for your continued partnership and steadfast support for our students and programs. And thank you, Lydia, for your reliability, organization, and consistent service behind the scenes. Together, these efforts of these three women exemplify what collaboration looks like: integrity, a deep commitment to our school, students, and community. On behalf of Charter Oak High School, thank you for not only leading with heart, purpose, and pride, but thank you for the lasting impact your work continues to make.
Okay, wonderful. That will bring us to our student representative report. Ms. Roselli, please.
Hi, good evening, everybody. This is the report for January. Charter Oak students have started back this semester strong, where many have found their places comfortably back in the classroom. And Charter Oak has hosted the annual Silent Night basketball game this year and saw both a peak in attendance and participation in the form of dressing up as different characters, such as Cat in the Hat, Minnie Mouse, and more. The school was able to partner with the community in order to engage students before the game began with teaching silent cheers and interacting with students to grow connections among one another. Students cheered on the team when they reached 10 points and ran to the court in support. Students were also able to make core memories with the photo booth provided for digital pictures to be received. All right, that's all I have today.
Great. Thank you very much, Ms. Roselli. At this time, we know some of our guests might have dinner plans, perhaps even some celebrations lined up. So if anybody would need to make their leave, now would be a wonderful time, or you're also welcome to please continue in the meeting with us if you'd like. Okay, this will move us to item number 10, the ROP report. Mr. Rose.
Thank you. I don't, because we didn't had a meeting in a month or so, I don't have any information on what's going on. The only thing I can report is that we approved the extension of the contract with the superintendent there. She's gonna be with us, I think, the next 3 years or so. We approved it in the report for tonight.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Rose. That'll bring us to our superintendent report, Dr. Kim.
Thank you, President Dr. Aguilar. Appreciate it. Happy New Year. I know we're well into January, but I want to share that with our board tonight. As well, I just want to give a huge thanks to all of our sites, our teachers. I see so many here tonight for welcoming back our students, hitting the ground running, making sure the start of our second half of the school year is off to a great start as we enter 2026. It was really neat. I think part of what we wanted to do, making sure that we can reconnect with folks, is that last couple weeks, our cabinet has been out to various sites and spreading out and offering some coffee and tea, and just with coffee with cabinet. And it's been a great opportunity just to hear about what the holidays look like and hearing from our staff around their time off. I also want to give a special thank you to this board. It is January and it is School Board Appreciation Month. And so just commending you guys, all five, on just the incredible work that is accomplished through this board. The teamwork and the unity is just something to be admired across the entire state of California. We also convened our leadership seminar cohort last week, and we spent a full day with this cohort. It's about 20 of our colleagues across the district, certificated, classified, confidential folks. And again, the purpose of the leadership seminar is to really hone in on our pillar for student success around developing leaders in all capacities across the organization. And so we had a really neat time in engaging in understanding ourselves. We conducted an assessment called the Gallup Strengths Finder, had an opportunity to engage in seeing how does that affect or impact the work we do with others. We looked at crisis leadership and specifically looked at a case example of an active threat situation outside of our school district and how as leaders we can think and process through that. And then we really unpacked a read that we have this year is the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, and our participants were able to unpack that and have some deeper dialogue around the book itself. Lastly, I want to give a special shout out to Directora Maria Thompson is over there somewhere. She has completed almost 2 decades. Maria, if you stuck around, it would have been 2 decades plus. But 19 years of service to our school district. We're just proud of the work she's accomplished and the roots that she's laid out here, the system she's built, the relationships she's forged, and we wish her the very best of good fortune as she makes some good positive differences for Roland Unified School District. So thank you, Maria. And give it also a special shout out, happy birthday to Dr. Bond. It is his birthday. No other place he'd rather be than here tonight. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Dr. Kim. That'll move us to our presentation. So right back to you, Dr. Kim.
All right. I'll give a moment for Dr. Mustafa to approach the podium. Tonight we have, as our first presentation, what is required by law in reporting out to this board a finding or the findings of a recent audit that took place back in the fall. So I'll allow Dr. Mustafa to present these findings to you. Dr. Mustafa.
Thank you, Dr. Kim, Board President Dr. Aguilar, members of the board, executive cabinet, and community members. I'm here to present to you our findings of our Williams audit that occurred back in early September. So the purpose of the audit really serves 3 purposes. It determines if we have enough instructional materials for our students. It's the first one. 2, and those are in the 4 core subject areas: ELA, math, social science, and science in the elementary schools. It determines if our facilities are in good conditions with no urgent matters, really to make sure that our students' environment are safe and secure for our staff as well as our students, and to ensure that the information on our school accountability report cards is accurate. So earlier this year, we had 2 of our elementary school sites with an announced visit through LA County Office of Ed come to do a Williams audit. Glen Oak and Willow were two identified schools for the visit. On September 5th, 2025, beginning of the school year, the instructional materials audit was done on both sides, and both school sites were found sufficient in instructional materials. A few days later, September 10th, both sites were audited for the facilities to ensure that both schools were up to par with no urgent matters that needed to be addressed. And both facilities checked out with the highest ranking of exemplary with an E for both those schools. And then data was confirmed for all our school accountability report cards, with all verified data being accurate. Additionally, I'm here to report out for our uniform complaint that we have had 0 complaints in instructional materials, in facilities, teacher vacancies, and no misassignments of teacher credentials. With that, I open it up to any questions.
Any questions from the board? Okay, thank you very much for that presentation, Dr. Mostafa. That'll bring us to our second presentation.
Thank you, Dr. Aguilar. If I may, I'm going to share tonight's presentation at our seat, and really it's going to be a shared presentation along with our executive cabinet team. And I'm going to start with this. We started the school year with this theme, if you will, and we talked about the importance of home and how Charter Oak is not just a place we come to work, it's a place where we work alongside people we care deeply about. And as we think about this being home, we know that in any household, one of the most important things you can think about is how to make sure your financial situation is strong and stable and it's forward-thinking. And part of the challenges and the forward-thinking outlook we had is to make sure, are we meeting our objectives as it relates to our pillar for student success? As this board's already aware and has shaped and developed, we have 5 pillars for student success. It's around college and career readiness, communication and collaboration to strengthen relationships, around leadership development, student staff safety and wellness, and of course, the focus that we have tonight is around our financial responsibility and facilities. What we want to accomplish tonight with this presentation is share really 2 things. Number 1, how we're presenting to you the transition plan from what we've received from the state and the federal government, one-time temporary funds, into a more sustainable long-term plan for our school district. Secondly, we want to share to this board our commitment and plans for how we're ensuring that our students and our staff have the very best high-quality learning environments moving forward. So with that, the first piece is around having a really 20,000-foot level view of our fiscal state and ensuring that we can be fiscally responsible moving forward. And part of those challenges, and as we've communicated with this board in the past several months to a year, along with our stakeholders, is how we need to address the fallout or the end of one-time funds. So what I want to do first is allow Ms. Branford to really share a bird's eye view of what we're looking at and seeing from the state to all the way locally here as it relates to where we are fiscally. So I'll turn it over to Ms. Branford.
Thank you, Dr. Kim. Good evening, board. So today was a day full of a lot of information around the budget. Today we attended the governor's budget along with a few of our association members, and we got a lot of information today around next year's budget. And so, big picture, the state actually saw a lot of revenues for last year and the current year. And so there was a lot of conversations around how does that trickle down to districts. And so one of the conversations was that there will be a settle up. So essentially, the state does owe the districts some money. And so how they repay districts or make us whole is by way of block grants, one-time funds. And so this year we did receive some one-time funds. It's not totally unrestricted, it's flexible, but it's on the restricted side of the books. And so going into next year, they do recognize that they do owe districts quite a bit of money. And again, they will also do another block grant next year, which will be larger than the one we have this year. So we will see also additional funds in certain programs such as community schools, ELOP, Learning Recovery Emergency Block Grant. So we will see some of those funds in different programs. However, as much as the state is doing well, a lot of that really having to do with investments. So it's stocks, it's AI. And there was also a lot of conversations around, is this a boom or a bust? Will we see this in the future? And so projections are not really taking in a lot of those areas of funding. And what will actually happen is that we actually see deficit spending with the state. So next year, we're looking at about $22 billion deficit spending in the state, and the following year, about $38 billion. So we're not necessarily in the clear for the future. We're looking at the COLAs. The COLAs are actually projected lower for next year and the following year since our May revise of last year. So as much as the state's doing well, it doesn't necessarily equate to more money in the future. And so knowing that our base funding, LCFF, is calculated on attendance, we have to be careful in our expenditures, and therefore we have to make those adjustments. Because there is a COLA, but as we decline, we do lose funding. And so with those loss of funding, we have to be ready to respond. And how do we respond? We need to be prepared to make reductions. And so as that being the bulk of our funding, it really doesn't give us a lot of room to not make those adjustments. Looking at the three pots up there, again, Dr. Kim talked about the one-time funds. We had a plethora of one-time funds. We had maybe over 23 million, which will be in the next slide. But just to speak a little bit more on the economic outlook, what we'll also see is that the governor will replenish the rainy day fund. He depleted the rainy day fund this year to make districts whole, but he will now replenish that fund. So a lot of the increase in revenues will go back. Some of it will go back into the rainy day fund. As we look to the future, the different pots, the one-time funds represented as one-time funds, and we had a lot of monies that we use in a variety of ways. And so we've seen pretty much all of them have expired as of last year. And so with that expiration, we now are reacting to a lot of the things that we put in place. We use those funds across the district in many ways. That was essential. We needed to have those funds. And unfortunately, again, that was just to help through the pandemic. And now the pandemic is declared over. The funds are gone. We did receive some state funds that kind of brought us maybe another year after the pandemic, and we'll see maybe some more funds in state revenues, but they're pretty much gone. And so we use those funds to reduce class size / combo classes. We did a lot with social, emotional, and mental health needs. And we also address behaviors, and we also put interventions in place. Again, with those one-time dollars being expired, we have to figure out how do we continue some of those services. And so we're having a lot of conversations around how do we restore some of those services with other funds. We're receiving a lot of ELOP funds, and so there's conversations happening around how do we serve our students with those ELOP funds. So again, just to reiterate, those were one-time funds. Districts' hands are tied. There's not much we can do. We have to live within our means. We are funded based on a formula, and the formula dictates how much funding we receive. With that.
Yeah. If I may add to that, as we think about the expiration of these funds, and as Ms. Branford pointed out, the use of these funds served an important purpose, and they addressed the elements that are listed there, from reduction of combo classes to social, emotional, mental health needs, and academic and behavior interventions. And we have site people here. They are already experiencing some of those reductions that have been taking place as we started out this school year. When we started out and this board enacted the budget last school year, or in June of the summer of 2025, in order for us to submit a positive certification, we had to identify nearly $3 million in reductions going forward. And part of that was these additions we made using one-time funds were absorbed into our general fund. Unless we made those changes, it would have a negative outlook in terms of our overall fiscal state. And in addition to that, what we're already experiencing, much like many school districts, we still experiencing the impact of declining enrollments. We still are experiencing the challenges of decreased ADA that we haven't seen materialize pre-pandemic levels. We still experience the various types of increases in operational costs. We've seen increases in the costs for liability insurance because of different factors. We've seen the natural increase that happens with step and column and health insurance costs that rise, and obviously with contracted services and the costs for litigation. So these are all things that we're very wary of and mindful of. I commend Carell and her team because they take all those factors into place to making sure we can build a very strong and positive budget. Before I share with this board our proposed reductions moving forward to address that budget gap, we followed a process and making sure that we're communicating throughout this process and letting our folks across the district understand the circumstances we're dealing with, as well as to make sure that we're gathering input along the way. So I'm going to allow Dr. Mustafa to share a little bit about the work that has been entailed, perhaps for the last year and a half or so.
Sure, thank you, Dr. Kim. So in being proactive with the budget and being transparent with our partners, we convened a team in the 24-25 school year that consisted of both association members, site leaders, district leaders as well, where we were able to review our budget, talk through the process of LCAP and the district goals. We really reviewed in great detail restricted and unrestricted funds and what that means and how those look. That team was called the Big Team Meeting, and we convened 3 or 4 times throughout the course of last year. Additionally, in the spring of last year, we did a roadshow executive cabinet, and we went to every site, also sharing the proactive nature by which we were taking and the budget circumstances stabilization plan by which we were in and the cuts that needed to be made. So we did that last year. We started last year. This year, we convened another team, additionally with both associations, different members that the associations selected to be on the team. This year's team was called the Budget Advisory Committee. We met 3 times throughout the course of the year to also review budget stabilization, review each of the positions that were brought in post-COVID. With the one-time funds, we looked additionally at restricted and unrestricted funds. We looked at funds that have expired and what those funds were utilized for. We met with various stakeholder groups, inclusive of site principals as well as students. And a common theme throughout every group that we heard loud and clear was prioritizing social emotional learning and mental health of our students. And so we went into great depth and detail, really trying to take the voice of various stakeholders before making any decisions.
All right, if I may, I'm going to share the proposed reductions and share with this board the next steps we'll have to take in order to enact these reductions. If I may start or give a background on this. Number one, as I share these positions or impact on these positions or programs, it most certainly is not a reflection of, again, the value and the work and the effort and the meaning they served. These are good positions. They're great people. They've had incredible outcomes. Again, this is a reflection of us making decisions on having to making sure that we have a positive certification in our budget, that we can live within our means, that we can make sure that as we closed off our one-time funds, we can have appropriate general fund usage moving forward. So with that, let me share with you our proposed budget reductions. We have first natural retirement and attrition. And we're seeing this both with our certificated and our classified staff. This year, we've done an early tell. Normally, we do an early tell that presents information about prospective people that are planning on retiring, we gathered this information earlier this year, and it was helpful for us as we thought about overall how do we making sure we capture the appropriate reductions. We're making cuts in district administration. We are going to enact 2 district administrative cuts, and that's going to be starting at as early as this month. We're going to be making cuts and reduction in force in our board-certified behavior analyst program. And again, as we shared, most of these additions that we brought in through one-time funds were primarily in our elementary programs. And so some of those cuts or those reductions in force will happen through our elementary intervention specialist program, our elementary campus proctors, specific elementary general education instructional aides, as well as elementary behavior instructional aides. Now, I'm going to add this thought here. We all know by making these changes or reductions in personnel, it doesn't mean the behavior or academic needs go away. I think all of us realize that. One of the things that we're going to have to start working with our principals and in turn with our staff is what might behavior support and academic supports look like in the future. I'm going to turn over to Dr. Bond in a moment because part of the work that we did behind this is that we have nearly 30 impacted individuals. And a priority that was high for us as a school district was how do we ensure or minimize the impact on actual people losing their jobs and ensuring that people can maintain their livelihood. And we were not going to be 100%, but I think we did some really good work behind the scenes. And so I'm going to ask Dr. Bond to share a little bit about the actual actions that need to be prospectively taken by this board and what the timeline might look like moving forward.
Okay, so the timeline actually started from this point after our big team meeting last year and our budget advisory meeting, starting with talking to the impacted employees. So about a week ago, we started from the HR department meeting with impacted employees that are going to be seeing possible reduction in force notices by the end of March. And so before that takes place, about a month from now, on our February 19th meeting, there'll be a resolution to the board to enact those reductions. And then we will be working at that point moving forward to work hard at placing and preserving the employees that we have and looking at the classifications they're in to figure out where they can be. We've been very strategic this year in hiring in these different classifications so that we did have landing spots for the vast majority of the people that are going to be affected. Those 30 individuals, almost all of them are going to have homes in the district in positions that they're qualified to take on. And so that will be something that we work on between now and with reassignments throughout the summer so that we are starting the next year off ready to go.
All right. Part of the additional work ahead as well, as you look at the timeline, is that we intend on sharing this information that we're presenting to the board to every single one of our school sites, as well as departments and divisions across our district. And so that work will begin in February so that everybody has a full idea and can ask questions and raise concerns about this information moving forward. So before I continue on with the next element of this presentation, I'd like to invite any questions that our board might have.
Any questions from the board at this time? Mr. Rose.
I thought we were going to wait till after we completed. No, but you want to do it now?
Yeah, and then we can come back to this next.
Yeah, I do have a question. I want to go back to the page, I think, financial responsibility. The one time there's a picture showing one-time relief in restricted funds. Dr. Kim, I remember the conversation with Dr. Jordan regarding elementary education specialists. He reassured me that the funding for that position was covered category fund. restricted fund, on the restricted fund would not be affected whatsoever. I remember that conversation with him. Now it shifts over to the different, this list of being eliminated. So I'm a little confused. How is that petition being funded? You know,
That's very accurate. So those individuals that are in those sorry about that. The individuals in those positions are funded through, and this specific program was funded through general fund expenditures. What was not funded in general fund expenditures were our temporarily funded teachers that took their place inside the classroom setting. The intervention teachers were outside the classroom setting. The temporarily funded teachers, the one-time funded teachers, were in the classroom servicing kids. And so ultimately, the budget decision that needs to be made is that can we continue to afford 6 additional teachers beyond, without those one-time funds? So the budget savings is essentially the general funded teachers maintaining funding through general funded teachers. We have now, through retirement attrition, have a quote-unquote house or place for our temporarily funded teachers to now maintain their positions inside the classrooms and they would be converted to a general funded position, if that makes sense.
I'm talking about the restricted funds, the category of funds that can pay for the education specialists.
It was not restricted funds, it's general
Has
fund.
said that. So,
Yeah.
I want to know, I want to be clear on that.
No, they've never been on restricted funds. Krill, maybe you can clarify.
Right, no, they were not paid out of restricted funds. They were paid out of the supplemental and concentration funds, which are unrestricted funds.
Dr. Kim, I attended the budget conference the other day, talking about the state budget is coming up with a deficit of $22 billion. But they'll talk about money, a one-time fund, increase in one-time fund going to the school district. Do you see that's coming? I mean, you see that's a possibility we can use that funds to continue to support that petition?
We also attended a governor's budget workshop as well, and we heard the same, that there is the proposal for one-time funds for school districts in a discretionary fashion. We do not know what that amounts to, the dollar figure for our school district. I think the caution we always take is that it is still one time, right? It's not going to be ongoing. We'd have to really determine the best use of those funds, how much we're going to receive, and obviously the expenditure timeline, how long we have to actually use those funds.
Okay. What about category funds? Do they fund in there that we can continue to support the specialists?
We do. We don't receive enough sufficient categorical funds. Really, the only categorical funds, and I'm going to ask Krill to make sure she can fact check me, but the categorical funds we rely on for different types of academic support are what's referred to as our Title I funds. And unfortunately, we don't receive enough Title I funds to provide, to utilize for the cost of a teacher so that we can provide one for perhaps every single site. Those Title I funds are distributed to our school sites so they can provide a variety of different types of supplemental activities to support the academic and behavioral and social-emotional well-being of our students. Did I capture all the I mean, there are other categoricals.
Right, there are other categoricals, but again, they're for specific purposes and they're not to be used for core activities. They're to supplement the core activities.
I'm sorry, repeat that again?
Our categorical programs are for specific purposes and they're not intended to supplant whatever we're doing currently. Those funds are to supplement those activities and not to supplant. So we can't use certain categorical programs to replace what we would normally do for students.
ELOP is one of those programs. It's an after-school categorical fund. We have community schools funds that are categorical in terms of mental health supports needs for kids. We have
A
there
few
was one
titles,
more.
Title I,
Oh,
Title
Prop
II,
28.
Title
Yeah,
III.
Prop 28 was another categorical fund for arts education.
I have another question. I heard tonight on the proposed reduction on the board certified behavior analysis. I heard that tonight. Dr. Kim, I heard you mention that. When that's done, you go back to the school site and talk about how we would help students with their behaviors. I want to make sure I understand this, that whatever that you could create, the new ones will not actually replace the certified board behavior analysis at all. It's just, I'm asking, what I'm asking is what kind of position would you, or the kind of new job description that will replace the behavior analysis. Can you elaborate that more? I heard that tonight. You said that.
Yeah, I'll start first, and if my colleagues have anything additional to add, maybe we can add. Our board certified behavior analysts, there were 2 individuals in that role. They were not necessarily assigned per se to an individual school site. I think they supported all of the elementary and secondary school sites, and they came in with more of a consultative approach, direct support for kids. They provide different types of assessments. And so if I understood your question correctly, if we reduce that position or those positions, then yes, we'd have to find different means by which we can continue those types of practices or services in our district. And prior to having those positions, the way we've utilized it as needs arose were through contracted services.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Just a clarification. Mr. Rose said that in the governor's budget, there's gonna be some one-time funds. We don't know how much it's gonna be. And are we under contractual deadline in regards to having to make these cuts? And that's March, you have to make notification by March 15th, right?
That's correct. By law, we have to notify employees that there's going to be an elimination or reduction in force if those employee positions are going to be laid off or reduced. And that has to be done per education code by March 15th. In this case, we would bring this resolution for a reduction in force, a specific job classifications, and it would be those those classified positions that are listed there, along with the board-certified behavior analyst positions. This would not result in a reduction in force on the certificated piece because it would just simply be a change of assignment on the certificated employees.
Yeah, thank you.
I have a question, kind of piggybacks a little bit maybe off of Mr. Rose. I'll start first. Thank you, Dr. Mustafa, for kind of informing us a little bit more, enlightening us more about the process of how the list of proposed reductions was formed. My question is, are there certain metrics, or could you maybe describe any metrics that were utilized to help evaluate the impact of any of the positions on the proposed list, or even positions not on this particular proposed list?
Yeah, absolutely. It's not an easy conversation to have with anybody. Our intervention specialists do a remarkable job of intervening and meeting the needs of students who had learning loss. They provide data regularly to their site administrator. We look at the data. We do regular diagnostic testing. So they make a difference. With our BIAs, Behavior Instructional Aides, as well as our BCBAs who train the BIAs, we know that the behaviors have been extreme, and supports of the behaviors will result in fewer behavior intervention plans, or BIPs, through their IEPs. So we look at all of the data. Again, it was really a conversation, qualitative data through various stakeholder groups, by which like I said, the common theme was priority was the social emotional learning and mental health, as there are other means throughout the course of the day where other interventions can be had for students meeting their needs.
Okay. And so kind of alongside that then, in evaluating and kind of measuring the positive impacts of various roles, again, whether on this list or otherwise, are there strategies to try to maintain those outcomes for students, those positive impacts for students, again, for positions on this list or otherwise?
So I shared briefly with one of our association members that we are going to take a proactive approach. We are meeting with our elementary teachers in the upcoming weeks through our grade level collaboratives, where part of our day will have conversations around what could it look like next year? What supports do you need? We don't have all the answers. We want to have the solutions together that's sustainable. We want to be able to provide support to the sites for what they need, knowing that each site is different and comes with unique needs. And so outside of having conversations with the teachers through our grade level collaboratives, we will be doing a roadshow as well. Executive Cabinet will go out to every site as well. And we have started those conversations with site principals also.
Thank you.
All right, if I may continue on, the second part of our pillar for success was financial stability or responsibility, along with our facilities. And so one of the things that we wanted to re-engage with this board is our conversations around making sure that we're keeping our classrooms and labs safe and up to date. If you recall, back in 2024, under Dr. Jordan's leadership, this board really looked at understanding what those facilities needs might be. And if you look at and ask ourselves, where have we been, where are we now, and where are we going? Those first two questions are, some of those truths are, we have exceptional students. We have a great staff. We have an outstanding educational experience our students leave here with and they experience. And we want to make sure that we can continue ensuring our students have the very best and modern learning environments across every single one of our schools. The reality is we have aging buildings and we have older infrastructure in those buildings. And so this is not something that is new to all of us. This is something that we've examined. We've conducted a facilities master plan a couple years ago. And in that process, we engage with school sites and we try to look at what are all the comprehensive needs that we have with every single one of our school site buildings. And we recognize the cost of that amounted to nearly $500 million. Now, we're going through a budget stabilization reduction plan conversation. We certainly don't have enough funding to support the facilities. And so we asked ourselves, what would be the priority should we elicit the support and look for alternative means to have that funding to support our facilities? And this board, back in 2024, looked at and prioritized a proposed project list of what those high priority needs might be. Now, if I may share with you what those priority needs are and really propose where we're going moving forward with this. This board looked at how we might be able to modernize classrooms, labs, tech facilities, equipment, and our technology infrastructure. In particular, the second phase of our technology infrastructure to making sure all of our elementary schools have high quality internet network and access speeds. We want to make sure that we're removing any hazardous materials. We're repairing deteriorating roofs, plumbing, HVAC systems, electrical systems as needed across our schools. We want to upgrade older classrooms and schools to make sure that they are meeting all of our health requirements, as well as ensuring access and appropriate access to students with disabilities. And last, we want to look at and enhance our student safety, campus security systems, fire alarms, and emergency communications through alternative funding means. And so what we'd like to propose to this board as we re-engage around this conversation is share with you what a potential local funding measure might do for us. And when we looked at this back in 2024, and when we polled our community, there was strong favoritism or high likelihood that there would be support for a project list that amounted to an approximate $80 million towards school improvements for Charter Oak. And as you know, in a local funding measure or bond measure, this project list the funding would be specifically addressed through this project list. It cannot be taken by the state. It have to be locally controlled, and there's accountability measurements put in through a general obligation bond. And ultimately, that's where we're at. And the process we want to follow in re-engaging with you, the board, as well as with our community. We will start engaging and having information sessions, sharing with our community. This is with our labor partners. This is with our school sites. This is with our local organizations like our PTA, our Ed Foundation, local service clubs. We're going to be sharing en masse the needs that we are seeing and experiencing here in Charter Oak with our facilities. We're going to share that information. And what we're going to do is we're going to survey our community as early as this February and sending out a flyer and mailer, letting them know about these needs and seeing how they would respond and if it's still favorable based on the polling we did before. We're going to do a scientific polling again sometime this spring. We'll re-engage our community through a sample size and find out what that, again, the polling would return in terms of whether they would support a ballot measure or not. And we're looking forward to sharing these findings and these updates to this board at our May 7th board study session and seeing if prospectively we want to pursue a resolution for a general obligation bond for the November 2026 election cycle. With that, I'll entertain any questions you might have as it relates to our facilities.
Any additional comments or questions on facilities? No. Mr. Peterson.
This is the facilities discussion we had, it was what, 2024? It was over at the adult ed? Is that the one we had?
That's correct. Back in 2024, there was a series of board meetings where Dr. Jordan led through just an examination of our facilities, through a preliminary draft list, and ultimately the wisdom that was shared at the time and the decision not to pursue something in the fall of 2024 is we wanted to make sure that we were confidently sharing and all this information with our community. They had a full understanding of what we were pursuing and that we had enough time to do that. We feel like we can start that engagement now.
Still going off that same list. We're not going to have to redo that all over again.
That's correct.
All right, thank you very much. That'll move us to, oh, do we have one more? Sorry, Mr. Rose.
I do have one more question. Going back to my position on elementary intervention specialists, I have one more question. But before I ask question, first of all, I am advocating for the specialists in all elementary school. I see the impact it does on the student, but I'm hearing from the in the district, and so I'm advocating for their position. But at the same time, as a board member, I am visually responsible with the 4 other board members that we have to stabilize our budget. We have to have a balanced budget every year as much as possible. I understand that. That's my job. 4 other board members are in the same position as I am. But I have a question about the petition. Maybe Mr. Bradford will answer the questions. That's okay, Dr. Kim? I can ask those questions? Yeah. On the chart, it said the federal funds expire on December 2024. Am I right? That's the last money coming in from the federal?
Yes, most of the federal funds expired in 2024.
You say most?
Pretty much all of the federal funds, but we did have some state funds as well. So, but the federal ones did fall off in 2024.
And you mentioned that, I don't know, one of you mentioned that year 2024-25 school year, we get funding from the state to continue to support the students.
Right, so we did get the Learning Recovery Emergency Block Grant. That was one of the funds that we used to provide additional services for students.
Well, what about the year 26-27? How do we support the petition?
26, 20, well, we're in 25, 26.
I'm sorry, 25-26 school year, I'm sorry. How do we support this position?
We use the Learning Recovery Emergency Block Grant for the temporary teachers.
Or is it a one-time fund?
Yes.
Those temporary teachers that were in lieu of being, that were providing the classroom instruction so that our intervention specialists could provide the intervention support.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rose. That will move us to our public comments. Do we have any cards this evening?
Yes, we do.
Okay. We have Wendy McCants on the subject of budget cuts.
Good evening, board members and administration. My name is Wendy McCants. Thank you for the opportunity to speak on behalf of my students, our students. Since September 2022, our district has made a clear commitment to serving the whole child. One of the core pillars of that promise is equitable access, ensuring that all students based on needs receive the supports and interventions necessary to thrive and succeed. Reading intervention is one of the clearest examples of this promise in action. And over the past 3 years, I've had the privilege and honor of serving Willow's Reading as Willow's reading teacher, serving about 125 students every year. Our K through 6th grade data tells a compelling story through structured evidence-based instruction using SIPs, and thanks to Jen Powell, letters. Within the multi-tiered system of support, students, including our English language learners, are making significant gains. They are exiting the lowest reading levels earlier, entering each grade stronger, being reclassified 70% at Willow, and achieving a higher level year after year. Closing reading intervention would place our most valuable learners at risk and contradict both the state, which our superintendent Tony Thurman's reading plan for California just came out, which emphasizes the early literacy, evidence-based instruction, and the strong MTSS frameworks to ensure that students are reading proficiently by 3rd grade. The message from our state is clear: early and targeted intervention is essential. And closing our reading intervention, I don't get it. The data does not support the elimination. It supports continuation and refinement. I respectfully urge this board to consider what the data shows. I can ask them to consider what our students need and what our promise requires of us. Reading intervention is not just a program, it's a pathway to opportunity and long-term success. So please go back and have them relook at these ongoing LCFF funds and keep this program. This cannot be one just to eliminate it. And please don't say sorry to me. I don't want to hear it anymore. Direct these apologies to the parents and their kids. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. McCants. We have Kelly Evans on the topic of budget cuts.
Good evening, all. I'm here tonight out of great concern. The district says learn today, lead tomorrow. Our mission statement says provide relevant educational experience that meet students' needs, which allow them to adapt to a changing world. But how can this actually be said with a straight face, knowing what you are considering, what the cuts are that you are considering, and that they're in fact closest to our students? We cannot meet today's students needs when we remove the supports necessary for this continued growth. I'm speaking specifically to the complete removal of our elementary ELA interventions. These teachers have had much lengthy training in special programs to be able to correctly and competently teach these needy students using programs like SIPs and letters. The district paid for these programs and paid for the training of the staff. This was expensive, but it is shown to be extremely effective in helping our struggling students. Now, does this just not matter anymore? Are the needs suddenly disappearing? No. I can tell you the needs of a great and growing number of our students is increasing at a truly alarming rate. The students I taught when I first came to Charter Oak were vastly different from those today. Our society is also vastly different. We classroom teachers are now expected to teach how to be a human because so many come without having any idea what is acceptable or not. These students are therefore our classes, are exactly the opposite of 30 years ago when I began. They're even the opposite of 10 years ago. Classes used to have just a small handful of students with those extra needs. Today, it's the opposite. We have a handful of students that do not have extra needs. And I don't think that you guys are around enough in our classrooms to see this. Teachers have been taught how to teach particular subjects, but never how to be counselors, social workers, or therapists. Yet this is exactly what we are doing every single day in our classrooms. Much of our day is spent helping students with extreme emotional issues, trauma, ADHD, and autism to navigate the world around them and help them and the other students feel safe and secure while they are in our care. How can we continue to ask this of our teachers and staff while removing the supports that are so desperately needed? Removing interventions for those struggling readers, SEL supports for those experiencing emotional issues, and removing aid support for our gen ed classes, especially our combination classes, it's ridiculous. These decisions will have long-lasting ramifications. Think of our high school graduation rates. Now picture the choices that you're making now and how they will impact our graduation rates in 7 years and beyond. I guarantee the negative impact of this is going to be staggering.
Thank you, Mrs. Evans. We have Ms. Linda Lemon-Rush on the subject of elimination of intervention position.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Linda Lemon-Rush, and I am a 31-year educator in this district. I'm here tonight with fellow elementary reading intervention specialists to express our deep concern and disappointment regarding the elimination of our position. For the past 4 years, the reading intervention specialist role has been repeatedly described to us as a position with longevity, built into the LCAP and supported by the General Education Fund to serve students who are significantly behind in reading. Based on those assurances, we committed ourselves fully to this work because we believed the district was equally committed to closing literacy gaps. This decision to eliminate our position sends a very different message. The removal of this position does not eliminate the need. It just shifts the burden. General education teachers already stretched thin will now be expected to meet the needs of struggling readers without the instructional support that was specifically designed to bridge that gap. This impact is compounded by the recent reduction of instructional aids. Together, these cuts significantly reduce the safety net for our most vulnerable learners. As educators who have served this district for decades, we have witnessed many decisions come and go. What is most troubling is that this one directly undermines early literacy intervention, something research, data, and classroom reality all tell us is essential. We're asking the board to consider the broader impact of this decision. Reading intervention specialists play a critical role in closing learning gaps early, often preventing students from being referred to special education services unnecessarily. By providing targeted, data-driven support, we help ensure that reading difficulties are addressed before they become long-term academic struggles. Eliminating this position not only places additional strain on general education teachers, but also risks further overloading a special education department that the district has repeatedly identified as already impacted. This decision may ultimately increase referrals, costs, and caseloads rather than reduce them. This isn't just a staffing issue, it is a student impact issue. It is not what is best for kids, and simply put, our students and staff deserve better. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lemon Rush. Next, we have Ms. Heather Hall on the subject of budget cuts, AIDS, and intervention program.
Hi, good evening. I had to adjust some of the things I wanted to say tonight based on some of the stuff that was proposed or introduced tonight. I also want to speak about the cut of the reading intervention program. I agree with all of my colleagues that have come up here to speak that this is going to be a long-term negative effect for our students. We have seen, I'm a general ed teacher. I've been in the district now for 30 years. We have seen so much growth in our students because of these amazing reading intervention teachers and what they've been doing for our kids. If we lose this vital support, as my colleagues have stated, our students' academic growth for those ones that need this so much are going to suffer. And another way that, and again, another cut that we've been hearing about is our instructional aides. This is another way that we support those students who are struggling. I have a combo class this year. I have a first, second grade combo class this year. My aide is so vital to me every day. I teach 2 curriculums in the span of time where everyone else teaches 1. And if I did not have my aide, my students would suffer. They would not be getting the attention that they deserve and that they need. What I noticed too in the presentation was some of the proposed reductions were 4 of them at the elementary level. Our intervention teachers, obviously, our proctors, our gen ed aides, and our BIAs. 4 of them at the elementary level. So if you imagine, so we have a loss of behavior support. So that means more behavior issues in the classroom that gen ed teachers are dealing with, all of the teachers are dealing with. That equals loss of instructional time because we're having to deal with these behavior issues, which also impacts the learning for the other kids in the class. That's not okay. We have to find a different way. It seems like the students are the ones that are paying the price for this. We have to find another way. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hall. Next, we have ROMS ASB on the topic of Board Member Appreciation Month.
Good evening, and I appreciate that this is a tough night, but my amazing ASB students every single year or every single month look for people that they want to celebrate and honor. And they noticed that this was Board Member Appreciation Month, and many of them have worked closely with board members, so they came to me and asked, how could we do something to honor the hard work and the dedication of our board members? So we are here tonight. They would like to present certificates that they have created just to thank you for everything you do and your dedication to our students and our children. So one at a time, I would like to introduce Alan Sanchez. Would you go up to your board member? Kenny Spencer.
Oh, wow.
And Amanda Tejas and Janessa Johnson would like to go up together.
I appreciate it. Wow, that's incredible. That's pretty good. Thanks, Katie. You're welcome.
Thank you so much for all of your work on behalf of our students.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That will bring us to our discussion section of the agenda. We have our board policy revisions first reading. A few policies that have been available for us to review. Do we have any comments or questions from the board?
No, I'm aware that it's fairly new by state, required by state law, so we have to follow the state law. I like how we have more policies for mental health and suicide prevention. That's something we can discuss further down the line.
Great. All right. Then we'll look forward to bringing these for a second reading at a future meeting. That'll move us to our action items. And this evening, we do have one action item. I know we have some updated developments. So I believe we probably should go ahead and pull a particular item so that we can reconsider a similar item in a future meeting. I'm going to go ahead and make a motion to pull item 15A1, the amendment number 1 to power purchase agreements for solar facilities and contract for design and construction. I'll move to pull that from the agenda. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Peterson. Do we have any comments or questions on the polling of the item? Okay, we'll bring that for a future meeting. We'll take a quick vote to go ahead and pull that. Mr. Rose?
Yes.
Mr. Peterson? Yes. And I'm also a yes, so we'll go ahead and pull that item from the agenda this evening. That'll bring us to 15B1 under Ed Services, the school accountability report cards. Do we have a motion? Motion by Mr. Peterson. Do we have a second? By Mr. Rose. Any comments or questions from the board? Okay, we'll go ahead and call for the vote on this. We'll begin with Ms. Roselli.
Yes.
Mr. Rose?
Yes.
Mr. Peterson? Yes. And I'm also a yes. That will pass 3-0 with our student board rep joining us. Under Human Resources, approval of collective bargaining agreement with California School Employees Association. Do we have a motion? Mr. Peterson makes the motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Rose will second the motion. Comments or questions from the board? All right, we'll go ahead and call for the vote in that case. We'll begin with Mr. Rose.
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Peterson? Yes. And I am also a yes. Our student rep cannot join us on this particular item this evening. All right. And that will bring us to the consent calendar. Do we have any items to be pulled by board members? Okay. Mr. Rose?
See Human Resources. Number 2, certificated personnel assignment order.
Okay, we'll go ahead and have that pulled for now. Item C2 under Human Resources. Any other items? Okay, we'll go ahead and call for the vote on the consent calendar with the exception of item 16C2. We'll begin with, can I get a motion to approve that consent calendar? Mr. Rose?
Motion.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Second by Mr. Peterson. We'll begin with Ms. Roselli on this one.
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Rose?
Yes.
Mr. Peterson?
Yes.
I'm also a yes. Consent calendar will pass 3-0 with the exception of the pulled item, which will bring us to the pulled item. Do we have a motion to bring the certificated personnel assignment order?
I'm in motion.
Okay. Motion by Mr. Rose. We have a second?
No second.
Second by Mr. Peterson. Comments or discussion?
Yes, there's a couple certificated personnel here in this room tonight. One of them going into retirement is Sue Hook. And I don't know who else in that room on the list. I don't know if I can recognize his face. I think it's Sue Hook and all the other teachers, Mr. Picker, and Heidi. I know a lot of them teachers on the list, and wish you lots of luck at the end of the school year. Congratulations, man. And for Maria Thompson's, and moving on to the next level, I want to congratulate you on your new position, and good luck. Back to you.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Rose. We'll go ahead and call for the vote on this. We'll begin with Ms. Roselli.
Yes.
Great. Mr. Rose?
Yes.
Mr. Peterson?
Yes.
And I am also a yes. That will go ahead and pass. That brings us to our board comments for the evening. Would you like to begin, Mr. Rose?
Thank you. Maria Thompson, I want to talk to you again. Here I go again. I had known you way back to my first term, 2005 and to 2009. It's been a long time. Seen a lot of changes. You remember Blue Ribbon Commission? I do. That was an interesting scenario that happened in Royal Oak. Eventually you step in to be a principal there. You got everything settled over there. Your leadership skills and your understanding of human interactions among teachers, classified staff, especially parents. You were there, got everything settled. And I admire that. It was a very difficult period probably in Royal Oak history, other than the combination, cutting the school, moving around back in the 80s. Not to compare to that, but thank you for helping the board to get through this crisis and moving on to the different positions. And now under human resource. In the coming days, it's just a good goodbye. Not the end of it. We hope to see you around someday and wish you lots of luck in your new position. I think where you going then? I think what school district are you going? Roland. Right, and wish you lots of luck there. And for Sue Hook, thank you for what you did in Royal Oak, what you do in Royal Oak. Thank you very much. And for all the teaching there, thank you for coming up, and especially considering we heard it. And like I said, that we have to look at it in all scenarios. That's now. I appreciate you showing your passion for the student. Dr. Aguilar, back to you.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Rose. Mr. Peterson?
All right. Hey, we're halfway there. Second semester starting, almost done. Thank you to the teachers who spoke tonight. I know my kid did have some of you, and I appreciate all the efforts that you've given her. It's not lost, and we appreciate that. Sue, congratulations on your retirement. I'm glad my kid had you before you got out. Good luck with your future over there in Roland. It's good to see Ryan. Dr. Perry's hanging out. Got the short straw today. He said he volunteered though, so I don't know which one to believe. But welcome, sir. It's a tough time financially for all districts throughout the area. We have some tough decisions to make. I appreciate the insight from those who are being affected right now. But as Mr. Rose said, we have to look at everything, and we'll move forward from there. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Peterson. I'll join my colleagues in also congratulating Ms. Maria Thompson on an amazing career of service here in the Charter Oak Unified School District that has impacted many of my family members directly over the many years, and so many other people's family members that have come through the district. So, it's just hard to really describe what kind of impact that is. So we thank you very much from the bottom of all of our hearts. And don't be a stranger. I'm sure we'll have our opportunities to catch up here and there. Let's see, I know we've been seeing some success amongst our athletics as I kind of scroll through Instagram. I know our basketball team has been competing hard. Our cheer program, I want to say, is at a championships, I think, this weekend at APU. Just really proud of all the amazing accomplishments that our students have been showing and the hard work they're putting in these colder months. And they're doing a great job. It's awesome. I believe at Royal Oak, we also have a drama production coming up, right? Yeah, so I'm excited for that. I'll have to get some tickets. Is that the SpongeBob? Seussical, that's the other one. That one will come later, okay. No, gotcha. Seussical, okay, good. I'll get my exposure to that. I've never seen that one yet, so I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Enjoy it.
Yeah, Seussical, it's good. Thank you again to my colleagues, School Board Appreciation Month, and of course, Ms. Flores and Ms. McGuire, who couldn't be here this evening. It is a role that I don't think any of us take lightly. There has a lot of rewards to it. I think there's a lot of times as a board member, we get to participate in amazing celebrations, many we saw earlier today. And that's really a big part of why we do what we do, I think. And then there's also a lot of challenging moments as well. There have been over at least the past 5 years that I've been involved, and I'm certain well before that as well. And so on that topic of having some challenging times, I want to appreciate the teachers who've arrived this evening to come and speak. And, our role is only really possible with information, with feedback. We are 5 individuals. But we are here to represent an entire community and all stakeholders, and so I appreciate everyone's involvement and speaking to best prepare everyone involved for being able to make difficult decisions when necessary, but the best possible ones that we can. Let's see, with that, we will go ahead and announce our future meeting will be February 5th, our study session, our mid-year review. We do not require any closed session tonight, and so with that, we will adjourn our meeting at 8:02 p.m. Thank you.